Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News at noon.
And right now at noon, the family of Chicago Police Officer Krystal Rivera is filing a wrongful death lawsuit. The shocking details we have just learned. And a search is underway to find a missing woman along with 2 children. We'll tell you what we know so far. And good afternoon. Thank you for joining us this Thursday afternoon. I'm Anthony Ponce. Our top story this noon, the family of Chicago Police Officer Krystal Rivera suing the Chicago Police Department after her former partner, Carlos Baker, fatally shot her back on June 5th. Brett Bagansky is live in studio. And Brett, the lawyer for the Rivera family, detailed that the 2 of them were actually in an on-again, off-again romantic relationship. Is that right?
That's correct, Anthony. So the lawyers for the family claim that Chicago police knew Carlos Baker was unfit to be a police officer. They claim he was reckless and left his partner, Krystal Rivera, to die after he shot her on duty while they were going after an armed suspect in Chatham. So within the last hour, we heard from the lawyers at Romanucci and Blandon, who is representing the Rivera family in this wrongful death lawsuit against the Chicago Police Department. They claim Officer Rivera requested a different partner after she found out Baker was seeing and living with another woman. That request apparently went unanswered. So the lawyers said Rivera was concerned for her safety. They also claim that after she broke up with him, he was struggling to accept the end of their relationship and showed up at her house unannounced. So lawyers for the family feel those incidents played a role into why Baker failed to render aid, call for an ambulance, and said it was Rivera who called for backup while Baker ran away.
In fact, his cover-up began after he shot her. Immediately, he claimed that shots were fired at police. The only shot that was fired that night was from his gun in Krystal's direction.
And we also heard from Rivera's mother, Yolanda, who was very emotional during this press conference. That happened just about an hour ago. She feels her daughter's death was preventable.
That betrayal cost Krystal's life. Krystal loved protecting the public. But I can say that CPD failed to protect Krystal. Yet, there were warning signs.
So lawyers say Baker had 11 misconduct complaints against him in less than 3 years on the force, including 1 on his first day. So Baker was relieved of his powers in an unrelated case. So the Civilian Office of Police Accountability is still investigating. So we're going to have much more tonight right here on Fox 32 Chicago at 4 and 5 o'clock. Anthony.
All right, Brett. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Chicago police, meantime, they are looking for a missing woman and 2 children. Take a look at the photographs there. That in the middle is 31-year-old Lynette Murillo, and a 7-month-old boy there on the right, and a 6-year-old girl. They were all last seen Tuesday near the intersection of Madison and Hermitage on the west side of the city. Anyone with information about their whereabouts should contact Chicago police. And the police are also investigating a crash that happened on Lower Wacker Drive. This left 2 officers injured. CPD tells us that these officers were headed eastbound on Lower Wacker when they swerved to avoid hitting another car and then hit the center median. And those officers were taken to the hospital overnight. They did suffer injuries. We're told they're not life-threatening, but we will keep you updated. As we take a live look outside, it is cloudy out there, a little bit gloomy. Sun is trying to peek through. Fox 32 meteorologist Mike Kaplan has a quick check of the forecast.
All right, I'm starting with something a little unusual here. We're going to be talking about some really dangerous weather, parts of the Pacific Northwest, and this is all due to something called an atmospheric river. This shows up in water vapor imagery, and the reason why I'm pointing this out, this used to be called the Pineapple Express because it starts around Hawaii. This is essentially a plume of moisture that reaches into the Pacific Northwest, then moves across the country. This pattern has been in place here for the past couple of weeks. That's why we keep getting hit with storm after storm, producing snow after snow and bringing in cold after cold. This pattern is about to break down next week, and that, in my opinion anyway, is some good news. Let's talk a little bit about what we have in terms of any watches and warnings out there. I'll turn them on, and you see nothing in the Chicago area, but off to the southwest, that's where winter weather advisory is in effect. This is where a higher chance of an impactful snow is going to occur late tonight. For the majority of Chicagoland, really not that much going on, maybe a light snow shower or a few flurries, perhaps an inch or two in LaSalle County, maybe Grundy County. I'll give you a look at that full 7-day forecast here in just a few minutes. Back to you.
The Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. is out of the hospital nearly a month after he was first admitted. Jackson was rushed to Northwestern Memorial Hospital back on November 13th. Due to complications with a neurological disorder, he'd been diagnosed with progressive supranuclear palsy back in April. Jackson's family says he will continue to receive care at an acute nursing facility while he recovers. And Rainbow Push Coalition, meantime, offering help to homeowners dealing with rising property taxes. They are hosting Property Tax Help Day. This runs until 3 o'clock today. The Cook County Board of Review will be on hand to answer questions and provide free assistance. A lot of people had sticker shock this time around. This is all taking place at Coalition headquarters. That is at 930 East 50th Street. Second installment property tax bills are due on Monday. Our neighbors in Indiana, the state Senate there, preparing for a final vote on a new congressional map. Earlier this week, the House approved a map that splits Indianapolis into 4 districts. Those districts spread into Republican-leaning areas, so the map would eliminate the only 2 Democrat-held districts. If it's approved, Indiana will join states like Texas and Missouri, who recently changed their maps for enforcement and the cold that they didn't show up. But others say those things will not keep them from attending in person. Roseanne Tejas has the very latest.
It's the feast day of Our Lady of Guadalupe, and while the crowds aren't large now, they'll be joined by hundreds of thousands by the end of the day tomorrow. Celebrations take place all over the globe, but this is the largest of its kind in the United States. Each year, pilgrims come together from all over the area to pray, and officials here say they should feel just as safe and welcome this year. The feast day commemorates the appearance of the Virgin Mary to Aztec Indian Juan Diego nearly 500 years ago. We talked to a worshiper and a volunteer here about the tradition and the atmosphere.
And before going to work, I decided to come and just bring some flowers a la Virgencita de Guadalupe. That is just every tradition, every year that I do. And I just love coming here. I feel very peaceful. It gives me a lot of energy, and I don't feel cold at all.
It's very, very exciting. It's very, very joyful. It's an honor to work here, to be part of this event, to be part of the, to just be part of the event where we welcome so many people that come for so many different reasons. They come for praying, they come for just to ask, you know, for protection for their families, and it's just very, very joyful just to be part of this event.
Some will offer prayers, some will ask for blessings, but if any parishioners are wary of coming here for any reason at all, the very Reverend Ezekiel Sanchez says knock on their door and ask them if you let you. And of course, all of the masses and festivities will be live streamed as well. From Des Plaines, Roseanne Tejas, Fox 32, Chicago.
Meantime, Lurie Children's annual radiothon is underway. Phones have been ringing all morning, and Casey Cronus joins us live from the radiothon with a very special guest this afternoon. Casey, take it away.
Hey, Anthony. Well, as you know, the Lurie Children's Radiothon is one of the hospital's biggest fundraisers of the year. And as you mentioned, the phones have been ringing off the hook. If you hear the bells go off, that means they just got another donation. We want to introduce you to a couple of special guests. Natalie Sell, she's a child life specialist here at Lurie Children's, and her pup, Hawk, who is a facility dog. Now, Natalie, just to start, paint a picture for our viewers here of the important work that you do and that Hawk does.
So Hawk and I work together as a team, and we help support patients, families, siblings while they're here at the hospital, going through some of the harder times. You know, it's obviously really vulnerable and stressful to be here, so we'll help kids prepare for procedures. We'll make sure that they know what's going on a developmentally appropriate level. If they have a new diagnosis or something big that's happening, we talk them through all of those things, and Hawk really helps keep them comfortable and calm while we have some of those hard conversations.
And talk about calm, he is the sweetest boy here, and we've got a couple of former patients who are keeping him company now. Explain when kids see him. I'm sure their faces just light up, and he puts them at ease.
Yeah, I mean, immediately they're excited for us to come in the room. We get a lot of, I didn't think there was going to be a dog in my bed. Like, that's so crazy. And patients, it's really wild how even the younger patients can recognize, hey, having Hawk here made a big difference for us today and made me feel really calm and relaxed. And, you know, especially when they're missing their pets at home and things like that, it just brings an ease into the room. And he makes friends really quickly, so that makes our job a lot easier.
And it's not just pre-op, post-op, but when there's a diagnosis, as you mentioned, that is a life-changing piece of information that patients are getting. I'm sure having him here is something that they will not forget when they look back years later.
Absolutely, and especially with those patients that get diagnosed with a new chronic illness, they come back to the hospital and they reflect on, you know, when I got diagnosed with diabetes, it was one of the hardest times, but thank goodness we had Hawk there to make it a little bit easier. And they remember him and they come back, and it's a lifelong journey together.
Thank you so much. And Hawk is how old?
Hawk is 2.5.
2.5, such a sweet pup. Now, if you want to give back to the Lurie Children's Radiothon, we've got a QR code on your screen. Go ahead and scan that. You can make donations all day today, but also they are taking donations through the weekend. All the information you need to give back to the hospital is right there on your screen. Anthony, back to you.
Okay, thank you so much. Casey, really appreciate everything you are doing out there. Send our regards to Natalie as well. Thank you so much. 12:11. All right, I feel weird saying this at this point. Feels a little cart before the horse. However, Bears playoff tickets are already on sale, okay? They haven't made the playoffs, but you can buy tickets for a home wild card game. If the Bears don't make it to those games, don't worry, you will get your money back. Tickets can be purchased at Ticketmaster.com. Speaking of the Bears, Fox 32 Chicago, PNC Bank, and the Chicago Bears all teaming up with the Greater Chicago Food Depository to help feed local families in need. Every dollar you give now will triple to provide 9 meals, so it's a great time to help out. You can do that by going online to chicagosfoodbank.org. It's 12:12. We got more news right here on the Fox 32 News at noon, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
Is the country becoming more affordable? I'm Alexandria Hoff with a look at what the Trump administration has to say. Coming up.
Save big money on
Welcome back. A healthcare battle in Washington, D.C. as we take a live look at the Capitol building where lawmakers are expected to vote on a pair of competing healthcare proposals. This all comes as premium tax credits from the Affordable Care Act. They are set to expire at the end of the year. This is the whole thing that led to the government shutdown. A Democrat-led plan would simply extend those credits for 3 more years with no other changes, while the Republican plan would do away with the tax credits completely and replace them with $1,000 deposits into health savings accounts. Without bipartisan support, though, neither bill is expected to get the 60 votes needed to pass. So the House is also, in the meantime and in the background, working on its own plan. Meantime, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, she is on Capitol Hill today. She's facing questions from lawmakers who claim that the agency is not just targeting violent criminals in the annual Worldwide Threats hearing, which is typically a time for lawmakers to question our national security agencies about potential dangers. However, Congress, this time around, more focused on problems at home. According to Noem, ICE has deported more than 200,000 people since President Trump returned to office. Recent data show more than a third had no criminal record.
You haven't been telling us the truth.
We are doing our targeted enforcement operations against criminal illegal aliens. Individuals that are in that area may be detained until we verify who they are, and then they are released.
Noem is also facing a potential contempt charge for possibly defying a federal judge's order on migrant flights to El Salvador. All right, as millions of Americans brace for higher health care bills, the president says he is prioritizing affordability for all Americans. Alexandria Hoff has a look at what the Trump administration has to say about the nation's economic outlook for 2026.
The Trump administration says the U.S. economy is well positioned heading into the new year. Americans will see lower inflation and steady employment through 2026 thanks to the president's economic policies.
You're going to see the greatest growth the United States of America has ever seen.
This despite the Federal Reserve Wednesday not quite giving the president all the rate cuts he wants. Chairman Jerome Powell announcing at the Fed's final meeting of the year a 20 cut, but moving forward, we'll wait and see how the economy evolves before going further.
There is no risk-free path for policy as we navigate this tension between our employment and inflation goals.
President Trump, critical of Powell, called the move too little too late and says he will soon announce who he wants to replace the Fed chair.
The head of the Federal Reserve is a stiff.
The debate over how much to lower rates comes as Congress, in a debate of its own, weighs how to best lower health care costs. Senators voting Thursday on 2 separate plans, but neither is expected to get enough votes.
Look, health care is in a crisis. You cannot deny that this is a crisis.
The president, shifting gears, turned to focus on the issue of affordability this week, kicking off a series of campaign-style rallies to bring his economic message to voters.
I have no higher priority than making America affordable again. That's what we're going to do.
In a sign the president's messaging may be cutting through, a new Reuters Ipsos poll shows his approval rating has risen 3 points to 41%. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox 32 Chicago.
Other news, tensions are escalating between the U.S. and Venezuela. The White House says the U.S. military has seized an oil tanker right off the Venezuelan coast. This seizure was led by the U.S. Coast Guard with help from the Navy and was conducted under U.S. law enforcement authority, according to a U.S. official. The move is the latest in the Trump administration's efforts to put pressure on the Venezuelan president, who has been charged with narco-terrorism in the U.S. President Trump didn't go into detail about the specifics of the operations, but did say it was seized for a, quote, very good reason.
Large tanker, very large. Largest one ever seized, actually. And other things are happening, so you'll be seeing that later, and you'll be talking about that later with some other people.
The U.S. has conducted several deadly military strikes in the eastern Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean on boats the Trump administration says are carrying drugs. Venezuela is calling that seizure an act of international piracy. Other news, a judge orders an end to National Guard deployments in L.A. This ruling came from a district judge out in California who stated that President Donald Trump did not justify his authority to federalize the Guard there. And this comes after he deployed thousands of troops to L.A. back in June without the approval of California Governor Gavin Newsom. California officials challenged Trump's order in court. The judge has held the decision until December 15th, which does give the Trump administration time to appeal. Meantime, the Department of Homeland Security acquired planes to carry out their deportations. The agency says it signed a deal to buy 6 Boeing 737 jets for ICE to deport immigrants. A report says the purchase is going to cost about $140 million. Right now, ICE currently carries out the deportations by hiring charter flight companies to do it. So Homeland Security, the department there, claims that this deal will actually, in the long term, save taxpayers almost $300 million. And right now, tens of thousands of people in Washington state, they're getting ready to evacuate as another round of heavy rain is threatening to flood rivers there even further. Take a look at some drone video. Look at that swollen river. This is in Snohomish County, where floodwaters are already close to rising above those bridges right there. And there have already been multiple rescues in a neighboring county. All right, time to talk about our local weather situation as we take a live look outside. A little bit of a cloudy day, and it is going to be frigid this weekend. So Fox 32 meteorologist Mike Kaplan has a quick check of the forecast.
All right, here's a look at the morning radar display, and there's a lot going on. A lot of radars are kind of lit up, but the main system that we're following, at least first and foremost, is this one out here that's coming in from the northwest. The trajectory of this storm system is going to be such that it's going to bring a glancing blow of snow into the Chicago area later tonight. Afternoon hours, nothing more than a flurry out there, and hopefully we'll get a couple of peaks of sunshine. Here's our Weather Authority futurecast, and you'll see an increase in cloud cover during the afternoon, and there is the snow beginning to break out southwest of the city about 8, 9 o'clock. It barely gets into the city at all, and by daybreak tomorrow, it is long gone. So this is not a big storm for anywhere in Chicagoland, but you saw that track. Maybe a little bit more snow, LaSalle, Grundy, Kankakee County, but even there it's not much. The wild card could be tomorrow morning, a little lake effect snow shower for the city. That lake effect plume will start to shift off to the east, and then we're done with it. The next storm system for Saturday looks like it may even be farther south. So today we're going to max out the upper 20s, let's call it 27, mostly cloudy skies, a few peaks of sun and maybe a few flurries. Tonight, the storm system mainly going off to the southwest, low of 22. I'll say the heaviest snow, and even there won't be that heavy, well southwest of the city.
Okay, thanks to Mike there. You may want to fireproof your home from pets this season. Animal experts are saying that while pets can, of course, liven up your house, some can also put it at risk of going up in flames. They suggest removing knobs from stoves when they're not in use to prevent them from being turned on if pets were to bump into them.
Some, they tend to be a little mischievous, and they tend to get into things and chew on things. So keeping them in a safe crate or secluded in a room that is very safe for them to be in is another option.
They also suggest unplugging holiday decorations when you leave the house. All right, it's 12:23. We got more news here on the Fox 32 News at noon.
This is such a special place, and especially on a day like today with the radiothon. We meet so many families even throughout the year that we do stories on, including Marshall, who you're about to meet. He's a superstar here at Lurie Children's. So he was born with a heart defect, had to have 4 surgeries even just as a baby. Well, he was put on the heart transplant list. He waited very patiently until last February when he was finally able to get his heart. He's here with his mom and sister to talk with us. We're going to share his story. It's so heartwarming, you guys. You're going to fall in love with him, just like the doctors, nurses, and all the staff here at Lurie Children's has too. So please think about what you can donate, even if it's just $5. It does make a difference. $1 million is the goal today, though.
Welcome back. Lurie Children's Hospital is going to be expanding its inpatient psychiatric unit to better serve youth with complex autism and other developmental disabilities. The hospital is adding 4 new specialized psychiatric beds to address the statewide shortage of behavioral health care for children. And this morning, state and local leaders gathered there to celebrate the expansion, which is Illinois Department of Children and Family Services. And it's a big day for our folks at Lurie's. Fox 32, proud supporter of the radiothon that is happening all day today. Gabriela Primus shows us how your donations can help children in need.
$1 million is going to be the goal today, and I know that Chicago can do it. All right, I have some very special guests with me. So Marshall here, who I was telling you about in the tease, his sister Carolyn, and then also his mother Jessica. Thank you guys for coming. How exciting is it to be here?
Very exciting.
Very exciting. Okay, Jessica, what was Marshall's journey here? Because we know that you guys spent a lot of time here in the city at Lurie Children's.
We did. So Marshall was originally diagnosed with hypoplastic left heart syndrome in utero. We actually met our single ventricle team when I was still pregnant. So his entire life, we have been a Lurie's family. He's had 5 open heart surgeries, including his transplant.
Well, and I know that the recovery after that heart transplant went really well for you, Marshall. And here you are, strong. You've grown so much since even I saw you last spring. Let's talk about some of your memories from being here at Lurie Children's. What was some of the highlights of your stay?
Well, I liked playing with my friends, which include Tyler and Josie, and I also like going down to play body parts trivia and bingo in the Panda Center, and I also like the pong thing. I forget what it's called.
You know, I remember hearing about a friend named Mila. What's your story with that friend, and do you still keep in touch?
So Mila, she taught me how to do some karate, says she likes doing that stuff, and me and her, we had fun together, and I met her when I was 6, and now I'm 8, so it's been a pretty long time.
A big 8-year-old. Okay, you also have your sister Carolyn here. Carolyn, I know, with Marshall, you were also here in the city a lot. Do you have any special memories from Lurie Children's that you'd like to share?
I think that it was super fun. We would always go down to the Panda Center. We would always have fun playing bingo, even if we weren't always down in the Panda Center. I loved how much all of the nurses, I used to make them crafts, and we would always share them, and they would always accept them and love them so much, and that was always really fun.
Okay, guys, how much would it mean to you to see people calling these phones off the hook and hearing those bells ring today?
It's extremely important, and it would mean the world to us. And not only our family, but tons of families like ours. And we're just really asking you to give with your heart and to really help families like ours and hundreds of other families here with lots of different diagnoses. So thank you, and I hope you can give generously this holiday season.
I love what you said earlier to me.
Welcome back. Here's a look at some of the top stories we are following this Thursday afternoon. Breaking news. We now know the name of the suspect who was shot and killed by Chicago police Tuesday night on the north side of the city. 20-year-old Robert Calvario Jr. CPD says that officers were investigating a stolen car near 57th and North Washtenaw, and that is when two men came back to that car and took off as soon as police arrived and they saw those officers. Police say Calvario jumped into a dark car and then hit the gas with an officer holding onto the door. Officers then fired and shot the 20-year-old in the head. Police are still looking for a second suspect. Meantime, the family of Chicago Police Officer Krystal Rivera is suing the department after her former partner, Carlos Baker, fatally shot her on June 5th. Now, this whole shooting was initially characterized as a mistake. The lawyers, though, for the family claimed that Baker was struggling to accept the end of their romantic relationship when he shot and killed her during a botched chase in the Chatham neighborhood. Lawyers also point out, they say that Baker had 11 misconduct complaints against him in less than 3 years on the force. Baker was relieved of his police powers in an unrelated case. The Civilian Office of Police Accountability is still investigating. All right, 12:33, meteorologist Mike Kaplan has another look at the forecast.
Quite a bit of cloud cover out there right now. There may be a few peaks of sunshine here or there, but on the whole, it's mostly cloudy. Count yourself lucky if you get a little bit of sunshine. There you see quite a bit of thicker cloud cover where it's showing up in this bright white color. The clouds are taller. A little more vertical development means those clouds could produce some precipitation, and indeed, that is the case. I'll turn on the radar, and you'll see there's some snow, a little bit of freezing rain on the back edge of that, but this is mainly a snowmaker. But even if you just kind of eyeball this, what direction is it going? Well, it's going off to the southeast, and that means we're only going to get a glancing blow from this as it moves through Chicagoland. Total snowfall. Well, let's look at our particular computer model. It's not overwhelming. Everybody gets a little bit here by the time we get to tomorrow afternoon, maybe enough to coat the ground in the city, and with temperatures cold enough that there will be some minor accumulations on road surfaces. But to find an inch or more, you really have to be well southwest of the city. Maybe a couple inches of snow there in LaSalle, Peru, maybe an inch and a half at Kankakee, but this is not a big snowstorm. Probably be able to broom this off of your property. So not a big storm by any stretch of the imagination. Today, 27 for the high. Mostly cloudy skies. Could be a couple of flurries around. At least it won't be very windy, so the wind chill pretty close to the actual air temperature. Now, let's look at the 7-day forecast because it has some hope in it. After a brutally cold Arctic attack this weekend, look at this, 12 on Saturday, 10 on Sunday. Myles Garrett's going to be freezing in his Browns uniform against the Bears. High of only 10. Wind chills could be dangerously cold Sunday morning. I wouldn't be surprised to see a cold weather advisory coming out. But let's focus on Tuesday and Wednesday, the beginning of what I think is a protracted thaw as the pattern shifts away from cold and snowy to mild and quiet. Back to you.
All right, our thanks to Mike there. Bronzeville coffee staple is going to be shutting its doors. We're talking about Sip and Savor, saying its Rosenwald Courts location will close on Monday. Owner Trey Pugh made the announcement via Instagram following 2 break-ins that happened at the cafe in just 5 days. The space will still be available for special events, and their 43rd Street shop will expand its hours to serve customers. Meantime, Sip and Savor's other locations that are located in Edgewater, Hyde Park, and the South Loop will remain open. And the Obama Foundation is rolling out monthly community tourism prep sessions to help local businesses and residents around there get ready for the tourism surge when the Obama Presidential Center opens in June. Starting in January, these sessions will offer training on job opportunities, online business visibility, and even how residents can host visitors. If you want to earn a couple extra bucks each month, you can host some out-of-towners. The foundation says the goal here is to make sure the economic benefits of the Obama Center stay within that local community. All right, 12:36, we're going to take a quick break, but coming up, we'll take a look at the latest business headlines. Stay with us. Welcome back. Taking a live look at the New York Stock Exchange. And right now, the Dow Jones is trading at more than 600 points up on the day. And it is time now to look at the rest of our business headlines with CJ Papa.
Coca-Cola naming an insider to be its next CEO, replacing James Quincy. Enrique Braun has extensive international leadership experience at the company. He will take over as CEO effective March 31st. Quincy will transition to the role of executive chairman. 6 more states now banning SNAP recipients from using their benefit to buy junk food. Hawaii, Missouri, North Dakota, South Carolina, Virginia, and Tennessee joined 12 other states in restricting the purchase of certain sugary drinks and food. And speaking of bans, first it was straws, then it was bags. Now the state of New Jersey is considering a ban on plastic utensils. State lawmakers advancing legislation that would prohibit restaurants from giving takeout customers single-use utensils or condiments unless they ask for them. That even includes chopsticks. And the architects of AI have been named Time Magazine's Person of the Year for 2025, reflecting the massive rise of artificial intelligence we've seen over the past year. The back cover shows the industry's top figures, including Elon Musk, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, and OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, and others. That's business. CJ Papa, Fox 32, Chicago.
All right, our news show is going to be wrapping up in a little less than 20 minutes, but Chicago Live is just getting started. Anita Blanton standing by up in Studio 32 with a look at what is coming up ahead. Anita?
Hey, Anthony. Yeah, I'm most excited about the heartwarming stories that we have coming up between 1 and 4 p.m. We're going to continue to check in with our friends at Lurie's for the radiothon that's going on today. The Dovetail Project is celebrating their 30th graduating class of young fathers, transforming families throughout Chicagoland and thereby communities as well. There's just tons of great things to get to this afternoon, and it's important to keep that in mind when we have to have some of the more difficult conversations, the harder topics, like the many levels of responsibility when we see these gatherings of young people dubbed teen takeovers that have often led to violence, and they're almost always promoted on social media well before they take place. Can and should online platforms be held liable if the city reaches out to have those posts taken down before something happens? We're going to talk with the alderman behind the push behind trying to get that going. Also, most people were excited, of course, when the Federal Reserve cut the interest rates this week, announcing that. We're going to take any break, most of us, that we can get with prices so high. But I'll be talking with the Citizens Utility Board behind the state of the Illinois gas market review. It's raising some concerns that at a time when consumers are paying inflated costs for, necessities like groceries and health care, the combination of escalating heating gas prices and serial rate hike proposals by the region's utilities are likely to exacerbate the hardships for many Illinois households this winter. There is a lot to get to, and it all begins at 1 o'clock when I see you online for Chicago Live. Anthony?
Can't wait. Anita, thank you so much. All right, coming up, smells amazing. I wish you could smell the studio right now. Manny's Deli in the house. And they're known for their corned beef. However, it's Hanukkah, it's almost Hanukkah, and they are going to be frying up a Hanukkah classic and telling us the secret to the perfect latkes. Coming up.
Join us.
Oh my gosh, this is an amazing spread we have here in studio. Smells like rye bread, corned beef. We got matzo ball soup here. We got latkes. And we got Dan Raskin from Manny's Deli, 4th generation over there, family biz. Manny's obviously, they're famous. They've been around since 1942, always giving back, doing great things. Just the other week, they donated 6,000 meals to families in need this year. So Dan Raskin, owner, joining us now to show us how to make traditional Hanukkah latkes. As the Festival of Lights, it starts in just a matter of days here.
That's correct.
Right? Hanukkah begins December 15th, and we got to start, we got the menorah.
Got it.
For those still unfamiliar, tell us why oil is symbolic at Hanukkah.
So the holiday of Hanukkah started when the temple in Jerusalem was ruined, and when the Jewish people came back, there was enough oil for one night to keep the menorah burning so that they could have light. And it lasted 8 nights. So that's the miracle of the 8 nights of Hanukkah, and that's why we celebrate each night like that. But the main part of Hanukkah is fried foods to celebrate that oil. So that's why we have potato latkes, and we also have sufganiyot, which is Israeli donuts.
These right here?
Yes.
Oh, those look delicious. Also, I know matzo ball soup, kind of a staple as well. You guys serve that at Manny's?
100% every day.
I know that.
Hundreds every day.
It's so delicious. I used to go to all kinds of Passover Seders and stuff growing up, so I'm familiar. But what is the key here to the good latke? That's the correct
pronunciation? Yeah.
Latke. Okay, so these are potato, correct?
Correct. So they're a very simple recipe. We just grind potatoes, onions, flour, and egg, mix it together, salt and pepper. And we like to fry them in 1 inch of oil. And when they're golden brown around the outside, then we flip them, cook the other side. And then the key really is to eat them fresh.
Okay,
so,
and these are the hot ones. Okay,
yes,
we're gonna
these are the warm ones.
What is your personal favorite Hanukkah time food?
I mean,
what do you gravitate toward?
Latkes are definitely my favorite thing.
Okay.
But this is like traditional plate right here. We have brisket, noodle kugel, and your latkes. And the way that I like my latkes, I put sour cream and applesauce.
Oh, you go both.
I go both.
I always go with the applesauce, but you can't go wrong. You really can't. I'm guessing, so over here, this is what you got. I mean, in my mind, this has got what you guys are the most famous for here. But what is the most, with the corned beef sandwiches, obviously. Right. What is the most popular thing that you guys sell at Manny's?
Definitely the corned beef and pastrami sandwiches, with a close number 2, the potato latkes, and then matzo ball soup. But at this time of year for the holidays, these are all staple items. People love the house-baked sweets we have, the sufganiyot. We have Nutella, raspberry, and a cream donut, and people place their orders, pick them up, or come eat them in the restaurant.
I love it. I love it. I love the simplicity of the latke recipe. I have to have you run through. You are 4th generation, okay? During the break, tell the audience what you told me about your very first job as a child at Manny's, at your folks' place.
So one of my favorite things was serving soup. So back in the day, the dishes used to come out of the dishwasher over 160, 170 degrees. So they would burn your fingers, and the staff would always be laughing at me, and they put a little bowl of ice right next to the plates. And when I'd pick up a plate, I'd have to stick it in the ice real fast, but then I'd get to the next customer. And
makes sense to me.
Yeah, keep the people moving, get them their hot soup, and move them
down the line. And how old were you at that point?
Probably about 10 years old.
10 years old. I hope everyone's listening. Look at that work ethic. Okay, so here we go. Manny's, Danny Raskin, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Happy Hanukkah to you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Can we?
Yeah, let's grab one. Here you go. Just
we'll be
do
back
that.
with more.
Help yourself.
I'm gonna do a nice hot latke here.
There you go.
Yeah.
A little sour cream.
Oh yeah. Thank you much.
There you go.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It tastes as good as it looks, as good as it smells. 12:50. We're back on
Fox 32.
Welcome back. Billie Eilish gives a first look at her upcoming concert, film, and Serena Williams leads new docu-series spotlighting famous CEOs. Ashley Dvorkin has the very latest in today's Hollywood Nation.
Eilish opens up, Zendaya brings the drama, and Williams powers up in the Hollywood Nation. Serena Williams leads a powerhouse lineup in Prime Video's new docu-series, The CEO Club. The 8-episode show follows Williams and fellow trailblazers Talia, Winnie Harlow, and Dee Oklepo Hilfiger as they navigate life as CEOs and entrepreneurs, balancing public success and personal challenges. It premieres February 23rd. Aang's next chapter begins in today's First Looks. Netflix dropped the teaser for Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 2, which follows Aang and Team Avatar as they continue their mission to restore balance. After saving the Northern Water Tribe, the group heads into the Earth Kingdom to rally the Earth King against the Fire Nation. The live-action series returns in 2026.
I love that he's carrying.
Zendaya and Robert Pattinson face a rocky romance in The Drama. They play a happily engaged couple whose wedding week spirals after an unexpected twist. The film arrives in theaters April 3rd. Billie Eilish is giving fans an emotional first look at her new concert film. The trailer for Hit Me Hard and Soft, the tour live in 3D, features footage from her recent world tour and behind-the-scenes moments, including Eilish reacting to the news her brother and collaborator Phineas won't be joining her on the road for the first time. The Grammy winner teamed up with legendary filmmaker James Cameron to bring the project to the big screen in immersive 3D, which arrives in theaters March 20th. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Billie Eilish and James Cameron. What a collab there. All right, coming up after the short break, Mike will have one final check of the forecast. Stay with us.
Bath Planet.
Welcome back. Well, no big winner claimed the winning number in last night's Powerball drawing, so the jackpot now stands at $1 billion. This is actually only the 7th time the Powerball has topped $1 billion, but it's actually the 2nd time it's grown that large in just 3 months. Next drawing is Saturday night. Get those tickets and good luck. All right, before we sign off, meteorologist Mike Kaplan has another look at the forecast.
All right, we have a couple of storm systems that are going to be close calls, but for the most part, they're going to be missing us off to the southwest. Today, mostly cloudy skies, a peak or two of sunshine. There might even be a flurry around, no accumulating snow during daylight hours, and a high temperature of 27, about where we are now. West winds at fairly light speeds. Tonight, down into the low 20s, so not much of a temperature drop. It will be a night that features some light snow, and for the majority of Chicagoland, no accumulation or barely anything, quarter to a half-inch tops. The heaviest snow, southwest suburbs, and by that, I'm not talking Orland Park and Tinley Park. I'm saying Hanukkah, LaSalle, Peru. That's where you might get an inch, inch and a half of snow. 30 tomorrow, and then Saturday, that next storm system, again, a southwest special. Very little for Chicagoland, but all of Chicagoland dealing with 2 brutally cold days before we turn the corner. Tuesday and Wednesday, the start of a long period of above average temperatures. Back to you.
Tuesday and Wednesday will feel like a heat wave compared to what we are going to have this weekend. All you Bears fans, bundle up for that Sunday morning game. It might not even get past 10 degrees, and that's just the air temperature. All right, that's going to do it for us here on the Fox 32 News at noon. Make sure to tune in for Fox 32 News at 4, 5, and 9 o'clock. And head over to our digital channel and check out Anita on Chicago Live. She's on for the next